Okay, now we are at the last talk of all the event. We have Cleyra that will talk about the supercharge your career by building your personal brand. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Buonasera. Grazie mille for being in my talk. Sorry, that's everything I know in Italian. Today, I will be talking about supercharging your career by building your personal brand. But first of all, who I am. I am a software engineer originally from Venezuela and currently working at JP Morgan & Chase. I am a Woman Tech Maker Ambassador, a GDG organizer for Glasgow, Scotland, and I am a crazy plant lady, a coffee lover, and I really enjoy building user interfaces and user experience, and I stand for accessibility, diversity, and inclusion in the tech industry. A wee disclaimer, I do work for a global finance company, but my opinions are my own and they don't represent the opinion of my employer. Can you guys hear me okay in the back? All good? Perfect. An overview of the topics I will be covering today. I will be splitting my session into two parts. The first part, I will be focusing on self-promotion and on the I Am Remarkable Google initiative. And on the second part, I will be talking about what is a personal brand, fundamentals of personal brand, building your online presence, and I will talk about some challenges that people come across when they are building their online presence. And finally, some networking practical tips. Let's get started. What is self-promotion? Self-promotion is the action of sharing information about yourself to gain recognition for your work and your accomplishments. And it can be done through a face-to-face conversation, or maybe by writing a blog or sharing something on social media. But self-promotion is often associated with bragging and bad taste, but if you do it right, it can really benefit everybody. I Am Remarkable is a Google initiative that started in around 2016 to focus on empowering women to openly share their achievements in the workspace. But the team quickly realized that this is not only a problem affecting women, but everybody. So this workshop is now open to everyone, for people that is currently comfortable sharing their achievements in the workspace, but they want to better understand the problems that other people is facing in this regard, and for people that really struggle with sharing their achievements in the workspace. But why is recognizing and sharing your achievements so important? First of all, for our own well-being, because recognizing our accomplishments has a positive effect on our well-being, self-confidence, and motivation. For others, because when you share your accomplishments, we can inspire other people who might learn from our achievements. And for our careers, because sharing your achievements can be critical for your progression and growth. Raise your hand if you can think of a time that you hesitated to share your achievement. Yes, I can see a few hands. This is a common experience. In fact, a 2021 study showed that 82% of participants hide a success from a loved one, a coworker, or a stranger to avoid bragging. And I've personally done it more than once. As an example, a couple of years ago, I was in a job interview, and I was asked this question. Can you share something difficult that you have accomplished during your career? And I thought about too many answers, but one came straight away into my mind. And it was that time that I was learning how to code, and I was learning a second language at the same time. I mean, learning how to code is pretty difficult, especially if you are coming from a non-technical background, but learning how to code in a second language that you are also learning at the same time is like adding an extra level of difficulty to the equation. But I did it, and I'm proud about that. But at that point, I hesitated to share my achievement because I thought it can be related or associated with bragging. I did it anyways, and I got the job because they were really impressed because I was able to do that, and they thought if she is able to do that, she can learn anything. This experience made me realize that it's okay to talk about your achievements. It's okay to talk about your accomplishment, and it's not bragging if it's based on fact. So if you work on a project or if you made a difference in some way, why you shouldn't talk about this? You definitely should. And this leads me to this point, which is accomplishments do not speak for themselves. So we cannot assume what other people do or do not know about us. And we need to be able to own our own narrative and show our unique value. Talking about accomplishment is a skill, right? It's a muscle that can be a strength and develop. And it's okay to play around with these skills. Maybe at the beginning, when you share your skills or your accomplishments, you might feel a little bit odd, but at some point you will find a way to share your accomplishments in a way that it feels true to you. Who knows what is the name of this TV show? Say again? The Big Bang Theory, and I am a huge fan. Every time I'm thinking about sharing accomplishment, I think about this guy, Sheldon Cooper, because he's not afraid of sharing how smart he is, his IQ score, and his Nobel Prize. But he also has a tendency to belittle other people's achievements, which can be seen as a bad way of self-promotion. It's okay to look for role models, for people that we want to copy from, but let's copy the good things and not the bad things. So we need to be careful. Now, if you're still unsure of what is an accomplishment or what can be classified as an accomplishment, let me help you. It's a sense or a result of working on a goal or mastering an endeavor and having self-motivation to finish what you set out to do. And then individuals can walk with pride because they finish or they accomplish his goal. So now you heard why sharing your accomplishment is very important. So let's start flexing those muscles, okay? I want you to think about everything you have done in life, personally or professionally. Every step that took you to where you are today. Nothing is too small or too big, okay? So I want you to engage in a conversation with the person that is sitting next to you. And I want you to start by saying, I am remarkable because, okay? And remember, it's not bragging if it's based on facts. And I'm gonna give you 5 minutes. So you go. I want to hear people talking. 1 minute left. Okay, let's come back. Here. Okay, good conversation. Did you find it difficult, easy? Anybody wants to share? Just give me a... Yeah.
A little bit difficult at the beginning, and then we talked about each other job or studies, and then it went automatically out. Sorry. So, me and him, yes, and we just met them.
And is your friend, did you find it difficult?
No, with them.
With them.
Yes.
Okay.
Also with friends.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Did someone feel comfortable?
I don't want to say that I find it pretty easy, but I had a thought in my head about a thing I did last year. So I was pretty confident talking about it. And I think you too.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it sparked also other discussions. So
Yeah, so we just met. So, I mean, I've heard this speech before, like this morning, but yeah, I think most this.
I'm glad. Thank you for sharing. Let's move on to the second part of this presentation, which is personal branding. What is personal brand? I'm not saying that you need to be a GitHub superstar or a influencer, a YouTube influencer to have a personal brand. In professional life, personal brand is all about showcasing yourself as an expert, as an industry leader, and sharing that expertise that you have gained so far in one topic or many topics. Personal branding can help you in many, many ways because you will have access to more speaking at conference, to events, to networking events, to podcasts, interviews, and you will increase your, not just your internal visibility in the company that you are working on at the moment, but your external visibility in the outside world. And this can increase more opportunities, job opportunities for you. But why is personal branding so important? Because it helps you to showcase your area of expertise, and you can stand out by sharing what you are passionate about in the way that you feel more comfortable. So let's say that you are a good artist, then maybe the way for you to share your expertise is by drawing illustrations. Or if you are good at talking, maybe you can become a YouTube influencer. Or if you are good at writing, then you can share your expertise by writing a blog. So you will find a way that you feel more comfortable sharing your knowledge with your community. Then it's important because it showcases who you are, and you can bring your personality in when you are sharing your content. And this leads to authenticity, which is very important when we are talking about personal brand. It also helps you to explore yourself. And in that journey of sharing your expertise with your community, you might find new skills or new interests that you want to develop. And it helps you to build your confidence. At the beginning, the things that you create or that you share with your community might not be the best, but don't worry too much about perfection, you will get there. And finally, it increases your visibility. Recruiters are online. your next boss is online. So it really, really helps if you are already there, showcasing yourself as an expert and showcasing your talents with your community. Story time. What Amomil taught me about personal branding. When I reached my 30s, I started to develop some food intolerance. So basically, I'm now intolerant to lactose. And I really, really love my coffee with milk, so I had to look for a replacement for the cow milk. And I went to the supermarket, and I found the best and the perfect replacement, the Amo milk. When you look at the packaging, it says Amo in big capital letters. But when you look at the ingredients, it says almond 2%. Really? Only 2%? And this leads me to my first point, which is you don't need to be an expert to start growing your brand and building your personal brand. Be like the Amo milk. If you only have 2% of the skills, you can start growing your brand around those skills, and you will get there eventually. What berries taught me about personal branding? I absolutely love blackberries, right? They are sweet, they are high in vitamin C, fiber. People even call the blackberries a superfood. If you ask me what is the most impressive about the BlackBerry, is that a smartphone is named after it, okay? And when you Google BlackBerry, you will see a bunch of smartphones rather than a fruit. And this leads me to my second point, which is personal brand is 100% intentional because you define how do you want people to perceive you. It's back. Are you a superfood? Are you a smartphone? You are in charge of defining how do you want people to remember you. Now, I want to play a little game with the audience. I want you to find out who I am referring to, okay? Are you ready? Yes. Exotic, vibrant, Latin American, no last name required. Do you know what I'm referring to who I am referring to? Louder? Shakira? Good one. She has an amazing personal brand, but it's not Shakira. Ronaldo. I like Ronaldo. It's not Ronaldo. Another one? Latin American, yes. I have asked this question before, and some people say you, but it's not me. No more guesses? I'm talking about berries here. I'm referring to the acai. For those who don't know what the acai is, I can see this guy saying like, what? The acai is a dark fruit that you can find in the acai palm tree in South American rainforest. So you can find acai in Brazil, in Colombia, or even in my home country, Venezuela. But the first time that I tried acai, it wasn't in South America, it was in the UK. And I remember I had this amazing breakfast. It was a bowl with almond milk, granola, and it has this creamy thing on top, the acai creamy thing on top. And it was amazing. I absolutely love it. And then I was handed the bill, 15 pounds. And I was like, okay, a little bit expensive, okay. But don't get me wrong, it was worth every penny. But if I tell this story in Venezuela, people will laugh at my face because you can find acai for free on the streets. And this leads me to my last point, which is know your audience. And the shape of your message will change depending on your target audience. If I'm going to talk about the acai in the UK, I can say this exotic, amazing dark fruit that comes from the acai palm tree in the Amazonas, pay me 15 pounds. But if I go to Venezuela, I need to change the message to something different, like if you want to become an entrepreneur in 2023, then you need to cultivate acai in your garden because you will become a billionaire. British people will pay 15 pounds for this. So to wrap up, lessons from the almond milk and the berries. You don't need to be an expert to start growing your brand. If you only have 2% of the skills, like the almond milk, you just go for it, okay? Personal brand is 100% intentional because you are in charge of defining how do you want people to perceive you. Know your audience, and the shape of your audience, the shape of your message, know your audience, will change depending on your audience. And probably I was hungry when I made this presentation. Let's move on to talk about building your online presence. There is not a magical formula to build your online presence, but there are some steps that you can follow that will lead you there. The first one is find a platform. And my recommendation is to use social media. Why? Because this is a free tool, you can reach a massive audience, you can do networking, share content, learn in community, and keep you up to date with the latest trends. And you can do all of that while you are building your personal brand. So it's amazing, the best tool that you can use. Then define your identity brand. And we're gonna see more about this on the next slide. Have a strategy. And the strategy, to define a strategy, you need your goal. What is your goal for building a personal brand? Is that you want to find a new job? Or maybe it's that you want to become an expert in one area, web, AI, cloud. What is your goal? And then you need to define some steps or actions that will take you there. Be consistent and authentic. As we say before, authenticity is very important when you are building your online presence and your personal brand. And be consistent, because if you want to become an expert in AI, let's say, and you share something about AI in your social media today, but then the next post is like in 3 years' time, then people will forget about you. So you need consistency. You need to define frequency, okay? And stick to that. Measure and iterate. Sometimes we create a strategy and it doesn't work, okay? So we need to revisit that strategy and iterate if that's not giving you what you want. And finally, have fun. Let's talk about building your identity brand wheel. We can start by finding your target. In my case, is women in tech, web developers, UI, UX people, and accessibility advocates. Then we need to define frequency. So how many posts I'm gonna share on LinkedIn or on Twitter, okay? In my case, it's like 1 tweet per day, I think, and then like 1 post per week on LinkedIn. So that's the frequency that I want. And I want to stick to that, okay? Then find similar brands. What is other people like you doing in the social media space? And you can copy the good things and you can improve the things that they are not doing so well. Find your strengths and values. And this is what you are good at and what do you stand for. So in my case, I stand for accessibility, diversity, and inclusion in the tech industry, and my strengths are front-end UI, UX development. Then your personality. This is a good one. I'm not talking about your real personality in real life. I'm talking about your online personality. And in order to define that, you need to think about how do you want to be perceived. In my case, I want to be perceived as a 30-year-old woman. I'm 34, doesn't matter. I want to be perceived as a 30-year-old woman who is passionate about UX, UI, and accessibility. Then find topics of conversation. We're going to talk about that on the next slide. And the final one, identifiers. Identifiers is what makes you special, unique, what makes you stand out from the crowd. And it can be anything. For me, I think it's my accent. I have a very strong Spanish accent when speaking in English. Also that I am Latina because I live in Scotland, so the South American community is not bigger. It's not big over there. But then I would say my pink headphones, because every time I'm taking a selfie and I'm coding, I'm listening to music, so every time I share something on social media, it will probably be with my pink headphones. But for you, it can be anything. Your favorite color, it can be something physical as well. Maybe you have an amazing afro, that can be your identifier. And remember to add those identifiers in your avatars, if you have any. Okay, this is an example of the content that I share on Twitter specifically. So there is my setup full of plants, because you know, crazy plant lady, and my pink headphones, and this is my Twitter, and those are the topics of conversations. So I talk about web development, UX, diversity, accessibility, and inclusion, like 80% of the time. And then 20% of the time, I will talk about my hobbies, lifestyles, and community building, because we are humans, and the human part is also important. An example of more posts, like the state of usability in 2023, a thread about teaching computer science in inclusive community spaces, and then a thread about testing accessibility. And this is my last run of the year last year. So as you can see, all my content will fall into one of these categories. And sometimes I use hashtags when I'm sharing content about a specific topic, like for example, accessibility. I will use the hashtag ally, which means that there are 11 letters between the I and the Y. And then running, I use the hashtag #FitDevs. So that's something that you can also apply. You can identify some hashtags to share your content, and then it will be easier for people to find your content, okay? Now, if you are interested on building your online presence, because that's why you are here, right, in this talk, please feel free to scan that QR code, and you will have access to a document, step by step, how to build your online presence. And you can log in using your Google account or Facebook, and you can make a copy or download this document. I'm going to give you a few seconds to do that. Remember to download this or make a copy, because if not, everybody will see your goals. Well, sharing your accomplishment, right? I like that, yeah. Okay. Influencers. Can anybody say what is an influencer? No? Sure, we know what an influencer is. Jose? People you admire? I like that. What else? People with a ton of followers, right? Okay, experts in one area, maybe? Cool. Some influencers that I follow and that I absolutely love. One of them is Rita Coates. She is from Andalusia, Spain. She's a software engineer, actress, and a musician. And she absolutely loves mechanical keywords. Her content is amazing, and I really encourage you to follow her if you are passionate about the same things. I'm going to give you an example of the content she shared with her community. Maybe? If you didn't see it, it says light mode. Another example is Eddie Jaude. He is an open source GitHub star, and he's also amazing, doing an amazing job on social media. He talks about open source, being a digital nomad, and a web dev. The 80% of the time, he will talk about more technical side of things, and 20% of the time, he will talk about what is being a freelancer and being a digital nomad. But the thing that I absolutely love from Eddie is his identifier. His identifier is that angry face. Every time he's taking selfies, I don't know why, he is doing that face. And I met Eddie last year in a conference in London, and I saw people taking pictures, selfies with him, doing the exactly same face. So it's amazing. This is an example of the content he shared on social media, and this is the pointer, right? Each post will fall into one of these categories. Oh, you cannot see this and that. So that's venting, and the other one is threats. So yeah, every single post will fall into one of these categories, and this is the way that he organizes content, and I think it's pretty cool. Oh, okay. Well, this is a week of a schedule in the Eddie's social media. And as you can see, there are some icons. I promise there is some text between the icons there. You cannot see it, but it's there. Sorry? Yeah, privacy. I like that. Yeah, a good one. So, yeah. There are some tools, free tools, that you can use to schedule your content, because you are not a robot. It's not that you're going to sit down every day 5 hours to make tweets and post on LinkedIn. So you can sit down for 1 hour, maybe a Saturday or a Sunday, and you can schedule your content for the next month, let's say. You don't have to do this like so many tweets and posts, of course. You will define your frequency. So some practical tips on personal branding. Is really important to take the time to build your profile, and then find like a nice professional picture of yourself, and then spend some time writing a nice bio, focus on your value. Then use some links. If people want to find out more about yourself, try to share your link to your personal website, your portfolio, or LinkedIn account. Use some hashtags, and we already talked about that on the previous slides. Don't feel afraid of tagging people. Okay, if you think that someone else will find your content interesting, then you can tag these people on your tweets or your post. Reply, engage in the conversation. I absolutely hate when people say, oh, I want to grow my personal brand, and then when people is trying to engage in the conversation with you, you just ignore them. So please don't do that. Don't be this kind of person. Be transparent. It's okay to make mistakes, but try to be transparent. Say, oh, I was wrong, I made a mistake. Actually, this is the right answer. And people will appreciate that. And finally, LinkedIn is so important. So please try to build your online presence on that platform. Some challenges that people come across when they are building their personal brand. First of all, how to deal with trolls. So my recommendation is block them. Haters are going to hate, and we have that functionality in different platforms, so don't feel afraid of use that button, okay? These people don't really add anything valuable to the conversation, so keep them away. What I'm going to talk about, my recommendation here is your passions, stuff that you can talk about for hours. Let's start by doing that. I don't have any expertise. Remember the almond milk. If you only have 2% of that skill, you can start growing your brand around that. And last but not least, how to overcome the imposter syndrome. That's a good one. My recommendation is baby steps. If you want to become a public speaker, let's say, then start by sharing your talks with your family, your partner, your friend, and then grow your audience from that point, okay? Moving on to the last part of the presentation, practical tips on networking. Every time you go to a networking event or a conference, try to prepare your elevator pitch, a summary of the work that you have done or the things that you have accomplished, and keep focus on your value. And try to keep it short and sweet. Research the event. Research the attendees, the speakers, so you can make the most of the times and you know to what people you want to connect with. Be authentic, because people will remember you because of your personality, okay? Do a follow-up. If you met someone, follow this person on different platforms and try to engage in a conversation and try to build a relationship with these people. Attend to events regularly. Of course, if you want to grow your network, that's what you should do. Offer value. When you engage in the conversation with someone, try to share an article, some content that the other person will find valuable. Use QR codes. If you are like me, with a very weird name, very difficult to spell, Cleyra Uzcategui, what? Then try to use QR codes so people will follow you, will find you very quick. And you can do that on LinkedIn and I think on Twitter as well. X, I forgot, they changed the name, yeah, X. And finally, be patient. This stuff takes time. It's not gonna happen one day, 1 week, 1 month. So please keep trying and building your network and your personal brand. Wrapping up, today we learned about ways of increasing your internal and external visibility. Your internal visibility by sharing your accomplishments in the workspace, and your external visibility by building your online presence. We did a hands-on self-promotion. We shared a document with step-by-step how to build your online presence, and we learned about some practical networking tips. Thank you for your attention. If you want to keep the conversation on, I promise this is almost the last QR code. You can scan that QR code and you will have access to all my social media accounts. I'm gonna give you a few seconds. Okay. But let's do some networking now, okay? This is the last one, I promise. Last QR code. I want everybody to play a personal branding bingo, okay? Let's all of us scan that QR code very quick. And I'm gonna play some music. I'm gonna play some salsa from Venezuela. Oh yeah. This is the personal branding bingo. If you click the bingo item, you are able to scratch it. And a couple of highlights. If you want to do a 50 seconds couple dance with me, but you have to come all this way here, I have some prizes. So for people that come all the way here to dance with me, you will have more chances to win one of the prizes. Also, if you share a photo of yourself attending to this event and you mention me on Twitter or Instagram, you will also increase your chances of winning the amazing prizes that you don't know yet. Okay? So let's do that. You have 10 minutes to do that. I'm gonna play some music, if I can. Hello, hello. Hello. Did you have fun? Did you complete the bingo? Yes? Some of you, yes? Okay, cool. Let's do the prizes now. Jose, I need a photographer. Jose is my husband / photographer, okay? Okay, so we have some winners. I wrote the name down. So, Alberto. Hey! A big clap for Alberto. Thank you so much. Thank you, Alberto. The next one. Yeah? Oh, yeah, that's a weird background. Yeah, sure. And we can put the presentation. Sorry, Alberto, we got your picture with a random girl in the background. It's fine. Okay, next one is Mihahi. I don't know how to pronounce that, but yes. Congratulations. Thank you. Last one. Where is the drums? Haha. Esteban. Hey. Well done. Thank you, guys. Hope you enjoyed the session, you learned something today, and you did some networking as well. So well done for all of you. Now I think we're moving on to the main room in 5 minutes for the wrapping up and the goodbyes. So thank you and see you around. Bye.